Good. I'm glad you made it. We're here at the office of Dr. Michael Billings, my partner in Deerblind Camouflage. We're about to find out about the scientific side of Deerblind Camouflage. He's the brains behind the science data. We're going to talk to him live. Revolutionary new concept in hunting camouflage. It's going to take the industry by storm. Let's talk to him right now. Come on. Dr. Billings.
Dan.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Now, we've been working on this project for quite some time now. What's the basic concept of it?
Well, we're using a camouflage pattern that's based on a totally different coloration scheme that's ever been done before.
Okay. From a purely scientific standpoint, what makes our camouflage more effective than the competition's?
Well, the competition, like I said, is using those basic colorations, and they usually add in UV brighteners, which make them more attractive to the human eye. The average hunter goes into a store and he says, what camouflage pattern looks exciting to me? What do I think, by my vision, what do I think is going to work? Deer can see those UV brighteners, just like flashlights out in the woods. And to deer, that picks up their senses. They look up and they say, what is that? That is different than what a real tree looks like, because real trees don't give off UV radiation, whereas these camouflage patterns often do. Our camouflage pattern eliminates UV at the point of production. Therefore, there's no UV that's given off. Remembering that deer see UV radiation very well. Human beings don't. So most hunters are picking out camouflage patterns based on how they see. And we're saying you should pick out your camouflage pattern based on how deer see. The same way that we may choose a scent to sprinkle around our deer stand based on how a deer's sense of smell works, we want to create a camouflage pattern based on the way a deer sees, and therefore making it more effective.
Now, with all of that information, what makes Deerblind so effective in the visual system of the deer?
Well, you've seen the camouflage patterns that are out there. They're basically greens, beiges, browns, things like that. Whereas our camouflage pattern is based on high wavelength coloration.
Okay, so high wavelength coloration, what is that?
Okay, high wavelength would be colors such as red, orange, and yellow.
We've taken these colors and we've put them into a strategic hunting camouflage pattern. How are the deer going to see that?
Well, the point is this, Dan. Deer don't see high wavelength colors very well at all. When they see a high wavelength color, they see it as a medium wavelength color, only very desaturated. Deer are dichromatic animals. That means they have two photoreceptors in their retinas. The retina is the back photoreceiving area of the eye. Human beings have three photoreceptors. So when human beings sample the world visually, they do so with 3 points of reference: a blue, a yellow, and a red. All right. Whereas deer only have two, based on the short wavelength, which are the blues, and the medium wavelengths, which are more of the yellows. Okay. So when they see something in the red wavelength, they don't have a photoreceptor to pick that up. So the only photoreceptor they can use is the closest one to it. Okay, so when you have a peak sensitivity, like with a human being, if you have a blaze orange, it looks quite vivid to us because we have a photoreceptor in the red side of the wavelength, the longer wavelengths, so that looks very vivid. But to a deer, they don't have a photoreceptor there, so they sample it way off peak sensitivity. And what happens is that comes through to a deer's eye as very dull, very desaturated, more of a yellow. It just blends right in with the habitat.